This is a reading, 7 cards for 7 days, starting for Monday, October 24th, and going to October 30th, Sunday. As always, take what resonates for you, leave the rest behind. We have 4 majors this week, so pretty intense energies, strong energies anyway, and we are beginning with the moon in Libra. And then we moved on Tuesday to that solar eclipse in Scorpio. For anybody who has fixed signs, like as your sun sign or your moon, your rising, been going through a lot because you've got Saturn and Aquarius fixed sign, you've got Uranus and Taurus fixed sign, you've got this solar, lunar, these nodes, these eclipses happening, and the nodes in Scorpio and Taurus also fixed. So it's been pretty intense energy for a while now. This solar eclipse on Tuesday will intensify that. On the good news side, Saturn is moving out of the square, at least gradually, with Uranus. So hopefully when we get to November, things will start to lighten up a little bit in that regard. Let me know how you've been feeling to see if this has been affecting you. But it teaches us to be stronger, persevere. We will get through this. All right, so for Monday, we have the Magician. Wonderful energy to start a week. Of course, this is the second card in the majors. We start with the Fool and then we go to the Magician. So the Magician throws up all the elements into the air. The tools are right there. You've got the sword for the air. You've got the chalice for the water. You have the disc there and a rod, like a wand, to show the fire element. So all are at his disposal. All can be used in new ways to create unique patterns, energies, things like that. So a nice way to start the week. And on Tuesday, that day of that eclipse, well, it is in Scorpio, which is a water sign. It's Tuesday morning. And we get the 10 of Cups for that day's energy. This can be a lot of emotion. I mean, it's a happy card. You see the 2 hands, arms intertwined here, the rainbow, the 10 cups. So there's bounty there, and it's a kind of an emotional bounty since it's cups. Could be very intuitive, creative in terms of emotional perceptions, things like that, and hopefully some good happiness. A little bit on the shadow side could be an overwhelming emotional response, and given that solar eclipse is happening in Scorpio, that could easily happen. So just be mindful of that and know if you're feeling a lot of emotion, there's sort of an overflow there that you're right into. That's not at all a surprise, especially if you have Scorpio prominent in your chart. When we get to Wednesday, we have the Hanged Man. My favorite way of reading this, number 12 in the majors, is that a person has decided that the orientation in life would be better off if grounded in heaven. So the feet are upward, the head is downward. Also, there's the changing of perspective. The blood flow literally into the head gives a new vision. So on the shadow side, it can be feeling a bit stuck, a little bit hard to move forward. And then more on the light side would be, okay, I see things in a new way. I'm giving myself the space to suspend here for a moment, to figure out a new vision, to let it come to me, things like that. So, and it's a 3, so there's creativity involved with that as well. The only real challenge card for the week is on Thursday, and that is our Nine of Swords. And I know this came up recently. I can't remember if it was last week, week before, I think. And this one has the label in the Thoth deck of being cruelty, and that cruelty is aimed at the self. So sometimes you see this in other decks as a person on a bed of nails, or sitting up in a bed with all these swords hanging over, or behind, things like that. So there can be the loss of sleep, a kind of low-level energy, because so much mental swords thought energy is being aimed at the self in a way that depletes energy. At least that's how I experience it. So watch out for those cruel thoughts toward the self. Just recognize them. That's really all you have to do. Recognize, release. Maybe at some point the insight floats into where these are located in you. Where did they start? What triggered these thoughts? So that's what we want to have a heads up for on Thursday. On Friday, we have the Strength card. So this is our third major for the week already. Here we have sort of our goddess, our empress-like figure, who is petting the lion here, and often we'll see a woman riding a lion or putting her hand in the mouth of the lion when this card is shown in other decks. So it can be not exactly taming your inner demons, but making peace with them. How do we take our strengths, pull things from our shadows that make us strong, and to feel that, and to know that there is a very strong possibility that some of that stuff does come out of our shadow. So it's things that we have turned away. Well, I'm not supposed to be like this, or that's so-and-so, but it can't be me. So you want to look into that shadow and claim that strength. And I would say very much try to get grounded, especially after this eclipse this week. Maybe garden some, do those tasks that make you feel like you have completed some good things. And eights are infinity signs as well, so they're connected to the divine masculine and feminine. So there's a really strong flow, a kind of unity there as well. And Saturday, back to the beginning with the Fool, the very first of the majors. So as I mentioned, we have strong major energy this week. This is the fourth one out of 7 cards. So that's a lot. So a reset, a going back to the innocence of the Fool, about to set out on the journey. A kind of androgynous figure too. Has the little dog, a little hobo sort of stick and bag there, ready for anything on this adventure. So I think that's a great reset after that eclipse, solar eclipse in Scorpio on Tuesday. We'll have a lunar eclipse in a couple of weeks. They're always a pair, they bookend each other. And so this is just really nice energy to come into your weekend with and say, all right, how can I be innocent in my world? How can I have fun? How can I do a nice reset for myself? And, maybe drop some of the burdens. And then on Sunday, the end of our cycle here, we have the 7 of discs or pentacles, the earth energy. So we only had 3 majors this week, and we covered water on Tuesday. On Thursday was air, and then we end up on our last day for these 7 days with earth energy. And this one feels like taking inventory. What do I have? What are my resources? What is tangible in my life that I can use in a way that is for my best good and the good of others? So, I'll bring the guy's face in a little bit closer here. You get that he has a hoe in his hand, and there's that earthy energy that comes from that, the working of the land, and of course, the discs are earth energy. So, what can you take and perhaps refigure, see it in a new way? Realize that you probably have lots more assets than you've given yourself credit for. And, that can be things like, I know how to garden, I know how to do this thing. Looking at your skill sets, things like that. And sevens for me are always that building up of energy within to make the change without. And then when you go to the next card, the Eight of Discs, it's about mastery of something real, something tangible. So, 4 majors for the week to recap, and that gives us a certain stability, which is good. We need that kind of stability. The other part about the Scorpio solar eclipse is that, I mentioned in a couple of weeks, then we get the Taurus lunar eclipse, and Taurus is so earthy, so grounded, so practical, so aesthetic, sensual, things like that. So, these always come in pairs. So think about that axis between those two signs. And if you know your chart, your rising sign, you can look to see where Scorpio and Taurus fall in your chart, and that will give you some indication of where these energies might be particularly strong for you, affecting you. And all of that information is out there, many sources, YouTube being one of them, of course, online in general. And feel free to ask me questions about that too. So we'll finish with our crystal angel card for the week, and what came up this time was Larimar. A beautiful color here, and it says sensitive emotions. So when one feels sensitive, Larimar can be a great stone to hold, to wear, to have around your person. And it says times of heightened emotions and sensitivity call for extra self-care and gentleness. And I think so often we absorb, well, things aren't going the way that I want them to, or I'm too sensitive. That can go back to that Nine of Swords. Is there self-criticism there? Are you feeling, perhaps you're an empath and you're feeling a lot of emotions from people around you. And it can be very easy to start beating the self up for that kind of stuff and not recognizing where those energies come from. So dip into the crystal world perhaps and find some Larimar or some kind of blue stone that has that sort of higher energy to it. To me, I connect those very much to the spirit world. So I wish you a great week. I hope in some way this reading helps you. Please let me know. Feel free to ask questions. And if you would, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. That would really help me better this channel, grow it, and be able to offer you more in the future. And if you're interested in a private reading, my information will be below in the description box, and also my website's listed at the end of this video. All right, beloveds, have the best you that you can for this coming week.